Level 1 upgrade. As you guys may notice, this Rustler is used. That's because it was donated to me by Traxxas Guy 45. Thanks a ton, man. I love this thing. Now I have to admit, this is the first Nitro RC that I've ever had. So when I got it, I took everything apart except for the engine, dyed all the gray parts black, and cleaned everything that I possibly could. And I have to say, guys, it is looking good. Now there's one thing that I have to say. Most of it is stock, which is cool because that leaves plenty of room for upgrades. And the first one has got to be RPM blue bumper. Now originally I was going to go with a green theme color for this RC, but I noticed it has a blue aluminum chassis. So blue it is. Let's go ahead and install this by simply removing the 2 screws that hold the skid plate on. Now that I got this useless piece of plastic off, let's go ahead and install the RPM. And there you have it. You cannot have a Rustler without an RPM or T-bone front bumper. Now besides dyeing a few parts, I did do some more besides that. I went ahead and changed the air filter. I replaced this line. I replaced the batteries, obviously. I took the transmission completely apart, had to dye it, and I re-greased all the gears inside there. I had to replace this lower drive shaft because it was broken. A few screws were also replaced. This servo's in good standing. This servo is not the stock one. In fact, it's the Traxxas Waterproof 2075. So thanks, Traxxas Guy. That's a nice little upgrade. Eventually, I would like to make this one waterproof just to be safe. The receiver was held down by electrical tape. I went ahead and took that off and bound it down by double-sided industrial tape. You can't beat that. Also, the front shocks were changed back to stock. Originally, he had these ones on there, but I thought I should go ahead and stick with the stock ones because I had an extra pair around and they matched the rear. Having just aluminum ones on the front, well, maybe I'll use these one day. I would like to get another set before I put one on because, you know what, I like to have it matching. Call me crazy, but that's how I like to roll. Other than that, I went ahead and took the spacers out of the front tires and I put a bearing on each side. There was a couple of things I wasn't able to fix. For one, the seal that hooks up to the exhaust pipe, it had a couple of tears in it. So what I did was I used some shrink tube over it just to get it to hold together for now. Eventually I am going to have to replace that. Also, I broke the caster block. Which is funny because the first part I broke on my electric Rustler was the caster block. So I put a screw in through the side and some super glue on top of it. It's holding strong for now, but eventually I am going to have to replace that. And there's one last thing I should go ahead and talk about. There is not an easy start system on here. It is the pull cord. And honestly, I like the pull cord more. Not because it's easier, it's just what I grew up with when I watched other people have Nitro RCs. So for nostalgia reasons, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. And that's pretty much it. Like I mentioned earlier, there's plenty of stock parts to upgrade, and from the few times that I've driven this RC, I have to say I love Nitro. So thanks again, Traxxas Guy 45. I promise you, I'll take care of this RC and treat it with all the love I can. And that was a level 1 upgrade for Banshee.